This is Ed Franklin with the Ed Franklin No Limits podcast. You can contact me at edfranklin.nolimits@gmail.com if you'd like to be a guest, if you'd like to promote your business, if you'd like to promote an event. And what we're doing today, this one is really close to my heart and you'll see what I'm talking about. I want to first introduce Stuart Nakutin, who I've known for, 25 years maybe. Our kids went to school together. We kind of raised our kids in the same neighborhood. And then Tory Wightman. Tory Wightman is the current president, I guess you call him the president of the Dad's Club at Garden Road School. And this whole conversation is about the Dad's Club. And I guess, first of all, Stuart, tell us what you do, how long you were in the neighborhood and things like that. And Tory, you can do the same thing, then we'll move on.
Well, moved to Garden Road Elementary, or the Garden Road area, when my now ex-wife was 6 months pregnant. Loved Garden Road, went to the Garden Road Poway School District because of the school district itself. Sarah went to Garden Road Elementary School, and that's where I, was blessed to meet a good friend and a great partner, Ed Franklin. I'm currently the corporate safety director of a large construction company. We do business in 7 different states, and I have inspectors throughout those states, but that's enough professionally. This is about the Dad's Club. And, when you contacted me, Ed, my answer was yes immediately. And we'll talk a little bit more later about how we started it and why we started it. And that's enough introduction.
Yeah. So Tory, what do you, I see you have your professional piece there, which I want to make sure we promote that too, because there's people that listen to this podcast that could use your services.
I appreciate it. My name is Tory Wightman. I am the owner of I Got a Chef Caterings, Consulting, and Events. Ed, thanks for having me on here. This is really cool for you to do it. And this all started, I contacted you back in July about this, which was really cool because I heard you were the founder of Dad's Club of Garden Road. And, that was really cool. That was really cool of you to give me some insight on what you guys did. You just don't make it about the kids that, that have parents, you make it about all of them. Everyone's
all inclusive. Yeah.
So, which is really cool, which is what I'm doing right now. It doesn't have to be, if like a kid has a parent that's like away, that like if a parent is away doing a tour in Afghanistan, or they're, they're on the other side of the country, I'm trying to get that to adopt, hey, who's your best friend? Let's get your dad. Hey, who's your best friend? Let's get their mom to like help you out, whatever. So, and this is really cool for that got brought to me. I actually did get the PTA that brought me on because all of our kids are in the same class, and a lot of the kids, I have one that's in TK right now, and so I'm hoping to make this go for all the way until he's got a 5th grade, and bring Dad's Club in to do even more events than what we have planned right now.
Yeah.
But when I talked to you back in July, you said, hey, it didn't stop at school. We did stuff after school for the kids, whether it's a water balloon fight, going to the park, or even, the Dad's Club. Hey, let's have a poker night, or, let's go be at the bar and just see how our kids are doing, what classes they're in. So, and it took me a really cool minute to get the feel of things. But just first day of school, we had 83 signatures from dads that want to be a part of this.
Nice.
That's great.
A lot of them were just like, oh man, Dad's Club is back, and it's never gone away. It just, we had COVID shut all these little activities and all these little clubs down because people were scared, and now we're getting out of the midst of it. People are starting to get back to normal.
Yeah. So let me kind of tell you how this whole thing started. So I have 8 children, and at the time we started the Dad's Club, I had 6 kids, right? I have 3 that live with their mom, 3 that live with me. And I would go see my older kids down in Serra Mesa area, not Serra Mesa, what do you call it, Tierra Santa. And they had a Dad's Club down there, and I didn't know what it was, but I had a lot of visitation with my kids, but I also had the opportunity, because I worked over in that area, to go over and see my kids at lunchtime. So they would have these events where we could, you could eat with your kids at lunch. You just signed in the front. So I came to Stuart and said, dude, we got to do something like this. This is what's going on at other schools. And in fact, that first year I did it, I was the dad of the year because I came to so many events. And I started thinking, after going through a pretty nasty divorce, you start to get segregated as a father, right? You're not, and I'm just being real honest here. I hope I don't insult anybody in this podcast. I don't care actually, but I was really saw how fathers weren't as important as moms. And I said, that's horseshit, because the reality is we'd have a lot of things for moms to do with kids. We didn't have a lot of things with dad. So I brought that to Stuart, and Stuart was more he spearheaded, because we're co-founders. He kind of spearheaded not the technical part, but the administrative part of it. Got with the principal, did things like that. And then Stuart, take it from there. I mean, you just kind of, tell us how we got this thing moving.
Well, the Dads Club really started, Ed, with, you and I as the founding members, and it was just a very grassroots effort. Two dads that had daughters of the same age that were in the same class. And, the PTA and Room Moms is a quite typical matriarchal based type of program. And we wanted to increase the presence of fathers at an elementary school campus. And that was really our mission statement, was to just increase the presence of dads on campus. And, part of that support was getting the time Principal Earl Skull to support and back it. So I met with, and so did Ed, the principal. We did not at the time want to be part of the PTA. We didn't want to be politicized. We wanted to fund it ourselves or through our connections in the community of Poway to fund it with donations and to be involved with the community. So, our first thing, we said, let's do Donuts with Dads. And, there are single moms and there are distant fathers, whether it's through business or through serving our country. So we, like you, Tory, adopted kids that if you were friends of our kids, bring them along. And we got donations for donuts. We didn't want to use PTA budget or have to make a proposal to present to them and vote on it, with Robert's Rules of Order, etc. So we had Donuts with Dads in the morning, and then that went into Lunch with Dads. I'm reading some notes. We had Walk to School with Your Dad. We handed out Christmas cookies when it was holiday time. We did pancake breakfast on the weekends. We acted as security for the Garden Road Fair that they had. But one of our proudest moments is we wanted to put as many fathers in classrooms as, call it, room moms, room dads, helpers, assistants, and rolling reader program. I know we were the first group in the 9th district in all of Poway's school district in the 9th district to put a father in as many classrooms as we can and read to the kids, which we, thought was important. And that, that went well. And at some point later, a few years later, we did become formally part of the PTA, but still held our autonomy as the Garden Road Dads Club. And then through our connections, I don't know if you remember this, Ed, we got Garden Road Dads Club shirts and hats that we gave out. And then, we met on the weekends. We even met sometimes at Garden Road Park for a little prayer circle in the morning, just for, jobs, your kids, struggles in the family, just getting together as brothers and as fathers. And it just took off from there. And I'm blessed and pleased to even know that it's still going on 20 some years later.
And let me back up just a little bit. So, Tory, I know we're old, right? I'm probably your dad's age. But here's what's funny is, so back up to the food thing. We used to go to Stater Brothers, Brugger's Bagels, and other places. They just give us shit, right? If we said, "Hey, we're having this thing," oh my God, that's so awesome! Just like you've gone to Harry for those pancakes.
Harry stepped in and donated over 700 pancakes for Pancakes with Dads.
Yeah, so I was getting those from him every year. When my grandson was going to school, I was getting them, and we had hot boxes, and I had a trailer, and I used to bring the trailer over, but one of the struggles you're going to deal with is we had at our country fair, we had barbecues on campus. We had a guy brought a trailer with a smoker.
That's right.
Construction lights come in. Remember Mitch and those guys?
Yep.
Construction lights.
That's right.
So we didn't have a lot of the liability. We had a bicycle rodeo. You guys you can't do that now because it's against whoever's rules or whatever. You're going to have to run up against some stuff. That we just did it. We just told Earl, "Hey, dude, we're doing this." He's like, "Go." So he would come to a meeting on Saturday morning, the principal, maybe twice a month,
Yeah.
with a
Yeah.
surfboard sticking out of his truck, and he'd have our meeting for a half an hour and then go surfing. So it was a little bit easier time than you're going to have with some of the things. And I can remember,
Yeah.
and it wasn't that we didn't want moms involved, is that we wanted dads involved. And I still have close friends that I met during those reading sessions where I would go in and butcher a book for these kids, a kid's book, right? But the kids remembered that. I still have kids to this day that are my girls' friends that say, "Oh, I remember Mr. Franklin used to come in and read a book," and they were little. I mean, they were like 5, 6, 7 years old, and they still remember that. And I know, so tell us some of the things you guys are doing, because I know you're doing some similar things, but you have to work in some parameters we didn't have to mess with.
Absolutely. You know, there are some parameters I am trying to digest, but I'm working my magic to make it happen.
Right.
So, I mean, we just did the Pancakes with Dad. That made a Poway Unified School District news, and that was really cool. And the cool part was, dude, I put an email out to the dads a week and a half before. Nowadays you have to do your Megan's Law, all this paperwork, TB test, make sure that you're good. And I had a lot of guys that like, hey, my paperwork's filed, but Megan's Law's taking 3 weeks. So, and I'm like, well,
hold on, you have to do that to be in Dad's Club now?
Yes.
You have to get a background check and finger. Do you have to do all that?
Yeah, dude, you gotta get background check, you gotta sign disclosures.
Yeah, we didn't have to do that.
You got to do all that stuff. But it's just like, you know what, I'm gonna talk to the principal, and she held me out and just said, hey, if they got their paperwork good, I know the parent, they can come help. We had like 15 dads that came out from Pancakes of Dads to help out.
That's great.
Was really, really fun. And then including some of the dads, they took some of the pancakes and helped me cook them, because I only have one oven or, one stovetop.
So we had those breakfasts come up in my memories, because like I said, then my grandson went to Garden Road and I helped out a lot with that. And we would use the kitchen at the school. Were you able to do that? And then we would run them back and forth.
No, I was not, but
oh wow. So
I'm a caterer. We're in my prep kitchen right now. It's called my trap. I have a prep kitchen in my backyard. So I have that.
I know, but it was a lot easier for us to pull off a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, we only have about 4 events for the year. There's Pancakes with Dads. We have the readers and root beer floats with Dads coming up on the 29th.
Nice.
Nice.
So
nice.
I got Stater Brothers. They're donating $25 worth of root beer, and then I'm gonna go to another grocery store, see what they can do. Even my wife Jenna, she's been my backbone to like, hey, you'd be great at this, and you'd have so much fun. She goes, try Cold Stone. Get another company to do it. And the cool thing is, we have some really close friends of ours. All our kids are the same age. My neighbor Jason, his son and my son are best friends, and he's like, dude, can I step in as your VP and help you out? Absolutely. And I know he would do it in a heartbeat. So
you see what's happening is, as you collaborate with these other dads, you're making lifelong friends. Stuart and I have been friends now, like I said, I don't know, 25 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
Man.
And you, and kind of back up to that thing. So there were a few, so I had 2 stepdaughters, and I would bring them. And then I had kids in the neighborhood that had single moms that I would bring them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, like I said, I want to make sure any women that are listening to this, we understand how important a mother is in kids' life. We can't live with that. I miss my mom every day. She's my lifelong hero. But dads are too, right?
But
dads, and that, even now with security and having that presence with men on the thing is
sorry to cut you off, but to get back what Stuart said earlier is like, you have these dads and you adopt a kid, you got these, you do have these kids where like they had an unexpected thing happen to their dad, like passed away, and you got a friend, your best friend's dad turns into a father figure for you, or you got a grandpa or uncle,
right.
That can step in and show you the right way, which is why I am doing this for these kids. So, dude, they have this, and memories. We want these kids to talk about, like you were saying, you had these kids that saw you 20 years ago and, oh, you're Mr. Franklin. You read us, the Choo Choo Train book in kindergarten. They remember that kind of stuff.
Well, Tory,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt. It is really about, I like what you're saying and what Ed's saying. It is about planting that seed. So Ed, I'm not going to say the guy's name just to keep, him autonomous, but I'm over at that Poway Family Fitness, and this big yoked out muscular guy, 6'1", comes up to me and says, "Mr. Nakutin, how you doing?" I said, "Man," I said, "Son, I don't recognize you." And he says, "Yeah, major in the United States Marine Corps. My name is so-and-so. And you read to me and gave me pancakes when I was in 2nd grade." And he did not have a dad. It was like an early divorce, and he didn't have a father. And he said, "You and Sarah, my daughter, you kind of adopted me, and I'll always remember that." Now, here I'm talking to a man, a major in the United States, either Marine Corps, Air Force, whatever it was.
They probably snap you like a toothpick.
Yeah, and he remembered something in 2nd grade. So what you're doing, Tory, with all these kids is planting that seed that fathers, and yeah, we're not discounting, mothers are vital, absolutely vital. But there is a missing element at the elementary school level of fathers being, involved. I was the first man to ever be on the PTA. They never had a man, and to have room dads and some of the things you're doing, you're touching a lot of lives that are going to affect these kids, and maybe someday they'll be fathers and they'll remember you, Tory.
Oh yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, and that's what I'm doing. Is make sure these kids have these fond memories, and you never know when I'd be not to put it in a rude way, but become old farts like you guys. I hope my kids are still here in Poway. I mean, I'm a born raised Poway, graduated 05 from Poway High, and you never know. My son, his kids can be going to Garden Road, and it's like, "Dad, you know how you're president Dad's Club?" "Yeah." "Hey, Dad, I'm the new Dad's Club president." Yep. Dude, I would be so proud. I'm like, show those kids what we showed you back in elementary school, man. Come on, get it going. So, and that's what it's all about. These memories for the kids. So, and then I'm at did you guys ever have a father-daughter dance back in middle school, elementary school?
Well, but it wasn't the dad's club. It was PTA that put it on, and they had a mother kid dance. I don't think it was father daughter. I think it was father. Like I know I took my girls to dances. I know, like, multiple times. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that was dad clubs driven, but you could drive that. And then we had a mother's dance too.
I'm trying to bring back father daughter, mother son dance. Mother son dance will be a winter formal. Sons could take their moms, and guess what? I'm doing father daughter. I'm trying to do it on the week of Valentine's. Dads could take their daughters to a Valentine's.
Nice.
So what I was informed was it can't be that way anymore. So I'm not going to go into detail. But
I will, because I'm not in the school system. Is this because of gender identity and things like that?
Yeah,
is that what the gist of it is?
Yes.
Okay. It's ridiculous. But listen.
But they say it doesn't happen. It can't happen on school campus. So that's opening up doors for me right there to make it work, where it won't happen on school campus, but it'll be under Dad's Club, and we'll find a spot for it. So I don't care if I have to do it in Garden Road, and just set up spotlights and let the kids have a dance.
Well, you could have not that you need to, but what would make them happy with it being called? Could it be a parent-student dance?
They want a parent-student dance.
I don't know if that'd kill it, but yeah, that's times have changed a lot in this really short amount of time, really, with the school district's responsibility to society. And we had a thing where we were doing lunch with dads, right? And then it turned into now they have grandparents with kids. Then they have mothers with kids. I don't know. They have all kinds. Now they have bring your favorite parent, which is kind of sticky too. Yeah. So if you show up with one.
Hey son, how come you're having lunch? How come you're having lunch with Mr. Jack and not me?
I've never seen your mother. Yeah, whatever. But I think that, listen, I hate to tell you this, Tori, this time with your children's going to go by lightning fast. Am I right, Stuart? I mean, I have a 36-year-old daughter and I'll have 15 grandkids. I have 15 grandkids now, 17 by March.
Well,
So,
Ed, I don't know if you remember, but your daughter, Sammy, babysat my daughter.
yeah, right. So, that's
Time
the
goes by
crazy
fast.
thing. So all
Are
these
you
things you
doing
guys are doing, the PTA, the Dad's Club, the reading, all these things you're doing, I cannot tell you how beneficial they are to children. When you're doing it, you don't understand. And later, when you get older, you'll understand it more. And I know I never liked someone saying that to me either, but believe me, time goes by very fast.
My son just turned 5 last week, and it seems like
Yeah.
yesterday when he was born.
And my grandson's 15, my oldest grandson. So
What?
times go by. Yeah, it's little Carson. Little Carson's not so little anymore.
Wow. Wow.
It is crazy. So all these things you're doing, and the fact that the principal's on board with it makes me really happy. We had some principals during the time with grandkids and stuff that weren't so apt to be. They were okay with it, but they weren't as positive as Earl Skoll, and it sounds like the principal you have now.
Lisa Turner, I mean, my daughter's in 2nd grade, my son's in TK. She has been, this is, I believe, her 2nd year, and she's phenomenal. Everyone loves her. And she's a hard hitter. She tells it what it is and gets it. So I've met her. I've had probably more talking to her over the past month now school started, and with Dad's Club, and she's awesome person to talk to.
Good for you.
And it's good that I get on the the dean's list of that one. So but yeah, I'm excited for all these kids, and I'm excited for any event that's getting put forward just for those memories for the kids. And Dad's Club is here to make it fun for them.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I wanted to do this podcast was to see all 3 of us on the same podcast. And if you get this out to the PTA and they share it, it could encourage some dads that don't really know. So something I'm involved with the Knights of Columbus in the Catholic Church, and a lot of guys will tell me, well, I don't have time to volunteer. But the real news is if they just put in an hour, maybe 2 hours a school year,
Right.
and everybody did that, you'd have plenty hands on deck to do anything. So
and it's 100% voluntary too. The one thing I had with the dads, they're like, well, so what is this? I'm like, oh, we volunteer our time to the kids. And some of them are like UPS drivers. They're working 12, 15 hour shifts. And it's just like, it's 100% voluntary. So if you can even make it for one event, or even if you want to go hang out with the Dad's Club, with no kids and no wives, let's make it happen. So it's just really cool to, open them up, and just like, you don't have to make every single event. You don't have to go every single morning to go read to the 2nd grade. You donate your time that way. You're not missing any work.
And that's the point I'm making, is if somebody can't come to everything, you're still welcome to be a part of the Dad's Club.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you don't have to. It's not all or nothing. It's just whatever you can do. And like you said, there may be an event offsite or something that you can get involved in and come to. I mean, me and Stuart and I had pretty much, I think we had kind of normal business hour jobs at the time, but we could do donuts with dads at 7 o'clock, still get to work. So there was ways to, get around that. And we couldn't come to every lunch, because we had jobs, but
this week,
it's so impactful for kids to have this kind of operation going on.
Yeah, this week they have lunches with your kids. So unfortunately I had to miss yesterday, but I'm going on Friday, and I'm going to be there for 3 hours because I have my son, my daughter, and then I got a niece and nephew that said, Uncle Tory, can you come to lunch with us? My dad's come the day before, but we want to have a second lunch with our uncle. Absolutely.
That's great.
So
that's the impact you have. And these are things we can do outside of the government, outside the school district, outside everything, where we can impact our children. And it's so important, So Stuart, I'm going to brag on Stuart for a second. You do Taekwondo, or was it?
We'll go close enough. American Kempo.
Okay, American. So in his garage, he had the studio, and he may still have one, but in this garage in the neighborhood, and kids could come over, garage door open out in the public, moms there, whoever, and they could practice, and he could teach them some, probably more mental stuff than the physical stuff. But that's the kind of person you're talking to here with Stuart. He was one of those you know, kind of public figures in the neighborhood that was always willing to help out. And there's a lot more of those guys. And if they were out there in the dad's club and involved in things like that, they would get some, you know, community is so important. And it sounds like a bullshit term when you're talking about it a lot of times, but it is super important to have that community. And Garden Road has always had this exceptional community with the teachers and just the neighborhood. A lot of teachers live in the neighborhood. I was really surprised about that when I went to Garden Road. I mean, within walking distance, they'd be walk to school with the kids sometimes. And so that was really super exciting.
And, you know, Tory, one thing that, you know, Ed said, which I just have to echo, is that community of fathers, you know, unless we talk, we don't know who's the martial arts instructor, who's going to teach kids free lessons, or maybe who's the mechanic that can help work on cars, or the chef, or the landscaper, or the plumber, or the electrician, or the guy that builds pools. And as we start talking more, and as we hung out as men and as fathers, we learned the different talents and gifts that each, you know, individual had, whether they were a father or not. It just so happens they were.
Yeah.
And then we can tap into that talent as a community. And that's why my wife and I moved to that area. It was a community separate from, I would say, even Poway, larger, but that community is something that you can tap into, Tory. You know, you have a professionally catering service. Somebody else, you know, has their own gifts and talents, and that can be used, you know, for the Dad's Club, and, you know, just increase the presence of men and fathers with that elementary school level. Because as Ed mentioned, it goes by fast. And once they're at Twin Peaks, or, you know, their junior high level, you know, it just starts dwindling away. This is our opportunity to make a big difference in their lives.
Absolutely. Oh man, I just totally had a goof. I was thinking of something.
Well, I'll go off the side of that.
I have the funny thing about this is a lot of the other schools, they don't have Dad's Club.
No, they don't.
So I got dads that I know, their kids go to Terra Bonita, and they're like, hey, is there any way we could jump on Garden Road Dad's Club? It's like, sorry, it's only for Garden Road parents. So I mean, I want to encourage like any other Poway Unified School District or any other San Diego school district, you know, do this. It's really fun. It's cool. The kids enjoy it, and then, you know, spread the fun for the kids. So I mean, I really wish I could make this, you know, a Poway Unified Dad's Club, but it's stuck to.
You know, we had discussed that, and I thought, didn't you or I go to another school and talk to them about starting the Dad's Club and kind of tell them what we did?
We did, actually. We went to a couple schools.
Yeah, I kind of remember that.
We were actually interviewed by the San Diego Union Tribune at one point, and not to brag, but Lisa and I actually won 9th District Volunteer of the Year award. And really that award, although given to me, I'd say is attributable to your hard work, Ed, too, and the gifts and talents that you have. And, you know, Tory, if you don't have one, you know, I'm not trying to get business, but a mission statement and a vision is vital. Because, you know, one thing Ed and I always focused on, never took our eyes off this, is all we want to do is just increase the presence of fathers and men on an elementary school campus, which is mostly stereotypically women in classrooms, and they play a great part. But, you know, if you need us to make carbon copies, which they probably don't have, or cut paper, or make posters, you know, we do those kinds of things. Do you need help painting your classroom as it gets ready for the next year? You know, you have a resource available. All we wanted to do was make it better for our kids. And I think, Ed, you know, we achieved that. We stayed laser focused.
Right.
Now, I know, Tory, you in this day and age have different parameters that we didn't. We didn't ask for permission. We asked for forgiveness. We just did things. But then again, you know, we didn't have school shootings. We didn't have Megan's Law. We didn't have some of the, you know, horrific things, not only that maybe the liberal left pushes, but also just laws. We didn't have that. So within those parameters, if you have a vision, and it sounds like you sure do, let that guide you with everything you do. And when you have a community of other men that have their own gifts and talents, you know, there's no telling where you can go.
Yeah, cool.
And just from a something that I think is important that we need to mention is like I said, I have 8 children. I've had some issues with my kids, right? Things happen, right? You're not going to be it's not perfect all the time. Having the opportunity to meet another man that you kind of relate to and you can have those discussions, it makes you a better person. It makes you a better parent. It makes you, when you get another set of eyes on something, oh, that happened to me. I mean, thank God I communicate with all my kids, right? We have great relationships. And I just got the greatest text from my daughter Samantha the other day about how good of parents we were, because she's going through things that she didn't really realize we dealt with, right? And you learn that from your dad, you learn that from your uncles, and but I'm telling you, this is a community again where you can bounce stuff off dads. I had 7 daughters, dude. You'd think I was a little in the clouds sometimes. I didn't know half the shit that was going on. Right? 7 daughters and a son. So I understood the kid, the boys stuff, but sometimes not so much on the girl side of things. So there's just no negative behind this whole thing, except that you're a little handcuffed, but you can get around that. That's just the way of the world now.
This is definitely not the day and the age of the 90s when I was in elementary school. I mean, this is a new age, and there's been, with recent events over the past probably 20 years, this is now it's changed, but you just gotta go with these changes and try to make it work to the best ability. So, I mean, with the Megan's Law and all that, I was just like, wow, I gotta, give a background check, which is, I asked my parents about it. I'm like, did you have to do any of this stuff for volunteering? Like, no, but you're at a different age now. So,
well, I don't know if I ever told you this, and Stuart might remember, I had a brownie troop.
Yes.
Sarah might have been in the brownie troop.
He was in your brownie troop.
Yeah, I had to get background check for that. Now, how I handled the brownie troop is I'm not very creative when it comes to things. So all the moms would come with their kids. So I just really housed all of the kids, and then the moms would do the things, and we sold cookies. We did all those things. I did that for 2 years, and so I had to get background check for that. That made more sense to me. But we were starting to get that at school. And listen, I want guys background check, by the way.
Yeah,
I want all those people to get. I have to do it through the Knights of Columbus if I'm going to deal with anybody under 18. That's fine with me. I don't mind doing it. I'm a certified lecturer at Poway Night School, so I had to get background check and fingerprint and all that. So that's all cool. I think the worst parameter you have to get around is what you can do on school property.
Yeah,
that's the worst thing for me, because we just did anything we wanted pretty much on school property.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're putting the fair back on Garden Road school property this year. Last year, I don't know if you made it last year, but we had the Garden Road Fair.
I know you were in the park, yeah.
Yeah, so dads did hot dogs for the kids, and we're trying to make it bigger this year. I mean, just that turnout was amazing. We Joy sold 500 tickets at the front of the school, and then they sold another 900 at the gate in front.
Oh my gosh!
At Garden Road.
Good for you.
I mean, that was a good time, and now I think the school is trying to put it back onto their property, but they want to bring in more vendors. So they want the carnival, and they want a vendor like myself to do barbecue or do pokey or something just to serve families.
So. Tory, for publicity, not only is this podcast good for people to see, but reaching out to, if the Chieftain is still around, it was a weekly paper when I was raising my kid, but the Chieftain reaching out to the San Diego Union Tribune, even TV channels, they want feel good stories, and we did that. It had to be proactive. I'm calling today about something we're doing very cool at our school that not a lot of schools are doing. If you need help with that, brother, I'd be more than happy to assist you with that. Reach out. Ed will give you my phone number if you want, but that way you can get that publicity. And we had reporters show up one day wanting to do a story on the Dad's Club because they had heard what we were doing, and now it's what you're doing. So there are other avenues that when people see that publicity, maybe that dad picks up that Sunday paper and says, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the Chieftain is owned by the Tribune now, Stuart.
Oh, okay.
And I know the editor from my time at the Chamber. I know the editor over there at the Chieftain. So whenever you're ready, I'll send you her info, and she's real receptive, and she'll get back to you. But Stuart's right. I mean, there's plenty of things, and listen, with all these school board stuff going on right now, and the elections coming up, and their HVAC issues, and the city and Poway and all this shit, this is a great thing. This is a great distraction for the kids. It's a great distraction for the parents to spend some time with their kids. It's on you raising your kids, right?
Absolutely.
So if it's gonna encourage someone to spend a little bit more time with their kids, you'll never regret that time you spend with your
Right.
kids.
Right.
And that's what, and that's what I'm doing. I mean, I've worked in restaurant business for over 20 years, and and then once in 2019, I left the restaurant I was working at and started my own business. It's been a blessing because I missed out on a lot of, doing 60, 70-hour weeks in a restaurant, and I missed out on a lot of stuff. Now I'm there to be there with my kid and do this for them. So, and I'm just trying to encourage dads to do the same. It's just like, hey, if you got the time, come, read a book for the kid or come to this event and help out. Let's do it, man. Let's make some memories for these kids.
Yeah, cool. All right, man. Well, anything else, Stuart?
No, I like what he just said, and maybe that's his vision and mission right there. Let's make some memories for these kids. That was beautiful, Tory. No, that's it. That's it for me, but I like that, Tory.
Ed, I just want to thank you very much for having me on this nice podcast. And Stuart, I can't wait to meet you in real person. And yeah, anytime you guys want to meet up in person, I'm available. Let's
yeah, and if you ever just want to bounce off some ideas, we're on a group text right now. If you just want to bounce any ideas off of us, my phone's, you can call me anytime, bro. So anyway, okay, so I guess we'll wrap that up. So this is the Ed Franklin No Limits podcast. We're going to share this, get this out to the community. You can reach me at edfranklin.nolimits@gmail.com. If you want this, I can probably bleep out a couple of words that I put in there. I knew that was going to happen because that's just me. You get what you get. So congratulations, Tory. You're the right guy for this job, by the way.
Yep.
So over the years when I was working with my grandson at Garden Road, there were some good guys that were taking care of it, but you're the right guy for this thing. Your kids are at the right age. Don't be afraid to turn it over to somebody else in a couple of years so you can spend more time with your kids and let them take that. But we created a foundation. You built a big building. Now it's time to start spreading it out. So you're doing a fantastic job. We're proud that you took over.
Absolutely.
And, yeah.
Thank you very much.
So when I'm going to send this link out to you guys, just share it, but stay on for a minute. I'm going to stop the recording and then we'll talk to you soon. So the Ed Franklin No Limits podcast. I'll be back with another podcast next week on the rodeo.